Hey everybody, this is Overpass Live. My name is Eric. I make apps. This is the weekly live stream where we just hang around, we chat, we talk about whatever we want to. And it's nice, before we even get started, I already have a thumbs down. So it's like nice. There's people out there who just don't like me. I don't know what it is. I got this comment like last week or 2 weeks ago. Somebody saying that I can't. It was like I nearly shared it because it was just so like. First of all, I was devastated by it, and then I was like, just kind of like, oh, these kind of things. It was like, I can't believe this channel's still there. I believed all this stuff to begin with. What a scam! All this kind of stuff, and it was like, it really got to me, like at some level, because it was like, we're not selling anything here. I have nothing to sell, right? But we just have our live stream. So hopefully, let me know if you guys can hear me okay, because I did do the upgrade to Mac Big Sur this week, and some things are working for the most part. I know there are people out there who says whatever you do, don't ever upgrade, and I'm always at the point where like I want to try the new stuff. Like there's new stuff out, I want to try it. Plus, it's important to know, like from a technology point of view, you can't be like still running on Windows XP or like an old iPhone. You have to be up with the times, right? So I upgraded everything, and for the most part, everything's working except for Genymotion, which is my Android emulator. So I don't know if any of you guys had any issues with that. But let's see who's here. Mega Man is first. Hey, how's it going? And Chord Funk is 0th. Let's see. Let's see. It says you have someone out to get you. Yeah. I talk about the thumbs down. I have somebody out to get me. It could be an ex-girlfriend. Could be a high school bully. Could be someone who just genuinely doesn't like me. Who knows? But I guess that's just part of the course. Actually, 3 people don't like me. That's all right. That's all right. I'm trying to win you guys over. Reza RVs. Hey, how's it going? Billy, yo, what's up? What's up, Billy? Sound is great. Cool. Robert T says, hi everyone. Hope everything's good and happy Thanksgiving. That's right. It's Black Friday today. Happy Black Friday. I mean, like, it's so easy to forget Black Friday unless you have, I don't know, any form of media. Like, I don't know if you guys are the same, but I've gotten, like, loads of spam today for, hey, it's our Black Friday deal. You've showed, like, one little bit of interest in the future. And I did try to sign up for an app. Like, today, it was Fitbod. It was, like, a gym application, which it seems to be pretty good, but I've never actually subscribed to it. And it was, like, half price. So I went to go fill in the online thing. I didn't want to do it through the app, so through an in-app purchase. So I actually went through on the website to do it, and the website crashed. Like, it didn't take my payment, which is good because as soon as I made the payment, I thought, I'm never going to use this. But there's a lot of that kind of stuff going on. Drink Drama says, hey Eric, would you be interested in taking a look at an app in your stream? Yeah, sure. We do it all the time. Yeah, let me know what the app name is. If you paste in the link, it will probably get blocked by YouTube. So if you let us know the package name, though, if it's Google Play or on the App Store, we can have a look at that. Let's see. Chord Funk says, do you ever feel like designers don't really think through things? I see this all the time. Designers handing over something aloof with a lot with gaps. Yeah, that sometimes the reason we do this is why it's kind of funny when a designer gives you something, and I mean, because a lot of times designers throw their, okay, this is making a generalization because I've known good designers, especially like UI designers, but sometimes they'll throw their hands up in the air like, oh, I'm not a UI person, or I'm not a technical person, so that like they don't want to try anything. And for me, this is why I like using wireframe tools. Like Balsamic is still my favorite. I know there's like Sketch UI and Proto.ui, Proto.io. So Proto.io, Sketch. There was one. There was Sketchflow in the .NET days when I was doing .NET stuff. Although I never really got it. For me, Balsamic always works the best for me. So like if I do something. And that's the thing. Like, if you give it to a designer, the whole reason we do wireframes is so that we can figure out the flow of the application. Like, especially like, are we going to have a hamburger menu, a slide-out drawer menu? Are we going to have like no drawer menu, but we're going to have tabs at the bottom? Are we just going to have like no tabs or no drawer menu? And that's the situation where like, how do we get back to where we need to go to? a common thing I see, especially with like frameworks that do a lot of this stuff for you, like in Xamarin, you have the shell design. I mean, there's lots of different ways of doing it. It's like when you go, let's say you go to an intermediary step. So let's say I go start a new, let's say we're going to do something where we create recipes, right? So like the first thing will be like, I click new recipe, and it takes me to another screen where it says, okay, tell us a little bit about your recipe. And then you go to the next screen, and then you add all the ingredients, right? Or you're saying, no, it's not like tell us a bit about your recipe. It's like, is this let's say is this a vegetarian or a carnivorous recipe? So you go, okay, so it's just like one little intermediary screen. Probably should be modal, actually, now that I think of it, but it's not modal. It's just part of the flow. And then your back button takes you back to that screen, right? And a lot of times you have to figure out a way to capture the back so that you can go back to where it is. But I totally get you. With designers, that's what we do. We go, you do the wireframes so you can figure out how's this going to work, right? Well, we could do it. Like I've done videos where we've done wireframing before, but for me, Balsamiq is still my tool of choice because it's the cheapest, right? A lot of those designer tools out there for wireframes are, I used to use Visio, and I've seen people use like PowerPoint, and they're just too clumsy. Like Balsamiq for me just works really well, and cost is a big part of it. Like I don't want to just pay per project or per user. I just want like one like desktop tool. But let's see. But yeah, I totally agree with you. Something like Steve from App Masters. Oh, Drink Drama. Yeah, we do look at apps here sometimes, but Steve's going on right now. You can go over and talk to Steve right now. He'll sort you out if you want to let him have a look at your application. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. I wouldn't worry about that too much. But what we do, we hang out. Sometimes we'll look at other people's apps. If you're looking for like a straight out ASO thing, go talk to Steve. He's going on probably right now over in the App Masters channel. So. Sour May says, Eric, should we buy a M1 chip MacBook or wait for software integrations? From what I've heard, I mean, I've seen, this is like, when they announced that the M1 or the ARM chips were going to come in laptops, I didn't think anything really. I thought, oh, okay, well, I've never been like a hardware guy. So I've never been like, oh, AMD is better than Intel or whatever. Like if you asked me what kind of processor I had on a lot of the computers I've had, I wouldn't be able to tell you unless I built it myself. Back in the early days, it was like I knew a lot about like, oh, what kind of motherboard I need to get, what type of RAM my motherboard supported, what type of processor I needed. But then I got to the point where it was just like, that just got too complicated. So then I'll just get a computer from Dell or something, or again with the Mac, all that kind of stuff. And they try to tell you, oh, this is like the Radeon graphics card, everything like that. And because I'm not a gamer, I don't do a lot of high power stuff like that. I'm not that worried about it. I'm not that concerned about it. But from what I've heard about the M1 stuff, some applications work really well in it, and others like they have to run in this intermediary thing. I forgot what it's called. I think it was almost like Wine would do on Linux, so you can run other things. It's like some other thing. So, if you need a laptop, then yeah, you might as well get the M1 chip. I mean, because it's gonna start integrating it eventually. There's no reason, like, unless, what I would not do at the moment is if I were buying a laptop today, I would not buy like an older one, just because you want, at least be up with the times, because in a few years when that becomes a standard, then you'll have it already. But that's just my opinion. MD says, Eric, what do you think about the new Admob ad format, the one that shows the app loading time? I haven't seen that. When did that come out? Did that just come out this week? God, I completely missed that. Yeah. Hang on. So I've been looking at Admob each day, but I haven't seen any, Admob does send you all those, God, we got the Admob on air. That was on, today, I think? I got a message for that today, but I didn't watch it. Raghav says, you work out. I do. Yeah, I do. I started working out 4 or 5 years ago. I run, but yeah, I've got these weight. I don't know if you guys can see. I've got a weight bench behind me during lockdown because we can't go to the gym. A couple weeks ago, I bought this, right before the second lockdown hit. I bought this, and this is is like a power tower. Like the thing, you know, with you do the pull-ups and the captain's chair and the dips on. It's in my bedroom. It's huge. Like, it was way bigger than I thought it was going to be. I thought it'd be something I just put in the corner when I'm not using it. No, it's like a feature. It's like it's like huge. And I keep, and I almost every night when I get up to go to the bathroom in the night, because, I'm of that age, I nearly always stub my toe on the thing on the way out the bedroom. But yes, I do. Theo says, M1 Mac Mini ordered. Oh yeah, I guess for a Mac Mini that would make sense to get that. So this Mac that I got, the iMac, I bought an iMac 3 or 4 months ago, and I just went full out with the specs. I mean, it's not a MacBook Pro because like 5,000 pounds on a lower end is a lot. But I just got the something with a decent graphics card, and it was upgradable to 128 gigs of RAM. So I'm running on 72 gigabytes, which really my MacBook Pro, which I was using for development, it really was starting to get laggy. It was just the fan was going all the time. I was constantly running out of disk space on the thing, like on the actual local drive. So I've got so many external hard drives, which, they work and they fail from time to time. But hey, Leandro, how's it going? Doing good, thanks. Let's see. Coreflex says the wireframing is fine and all that, but a lot of designers I've worked with don't design for failures. Also, the things like loading pages, etc. I always have to nag about. Yeah, that's it. A lot of times what stops me from doing things is that I don't have, you don't have the icon. Let's say, and this is one of the nice, if you ever have something where you don't have, it's not graphics heavy. Like a game is kind of graphics heavy. Like you're thinking, oh, I'll add a new feature to this. You think, oh, I need to get the designer to come up with a new icon and everything. So even buttons, one of the things I learned early on was, because I used to have my designers give me buttons with text on them. So let's say I have a start button, they would give me the button with start on it, which was the plus side of that is the font is exactly the way it should, because you can't, it's really difficult to embed fonts in apps. I mean, it's easy to embed them in, but the licensing is you have to look at that, because a lot of times people are they're embedding TTF fonts that they don't have permission to actually use. And I always think, I don't want to get whatever removed for anything like that. So I'm always looking for the cheapest fonts with those distribution rights, because a lot of times you can use them on either you can use them on a website. They cost more to use them on a website. If you have them in Photoshop or whatever your image editing tool is, and you use them in images, a lot of times they're free or they're really cheap. But if you're embedding them in an app, they're a lot more expensive, which is something I have to explain to clients all the time. They go, we want this to be this font. And I'm like, well, if you can find an equivalent on Google Fonts, then maybe, or one of these other places. But I can't just take whatever one you like the best from Photoshop unless you own that. So and sometimes it could be 500 pounds or something, and they'll balk at that and go for a substitute. But so anyway, so I was saying, I would get designers to give me the buttons with the text on the buttons, and then I found out that if I needed to do anything else, it just became problematic. If I wanted to have another button, I'd have to go back to the designer. And so in the end, I started just using the button as a background image. And then I realized that it was much easier just to really customize a button. So getting used to drawing the graphics through code. So even though they came back to me with stuff, at least then it gave me a lot more flexibility without to go back to the designers. And a lot of the stuff I've done recently, in the last 2 years, has been that my designer's only given me the icon. Right, a lot of the client stuff, I'm using Font Awesome for icons and buttons and stuff like that, and whatever, drawing different shapes, everything. So it would be in Flutter, it would be a card inside an inkwell or something like that, or a button with rounded corners. You just get the style right and everything. But yeah, I totally get you. Zero Supremacy, what's up? How's it going? Oh, I put coffee in the microwave and totally forgot about it. Let's see. Corfox says, Big Sur can run on iPads, or am I misremembering? No, I don't think it can. I think the Big Sur is like a Mac OS, but I think iPad. I think the big thing that they keep announcing, and I keep ignoring, is that that the new, because of the M1 chips and everything, that all your iPhone apps and your iPad apps are going to be able to run on a MacBook. And it's always been something I haven't been that, and it's like, unless you like, it's as a default, it's going to be able to run on a MacBook. And I always think about some of the applications that I've done, which rely on GPS. They rely on like the phone dialer. They rely on that kind of stuff. I'm thinking, how's that going to work? But yeah, no, I don't think, no, Big Sur would not work out, because at the moment on iOS, we have iOS 14. So, and they got iPad OS 14. So, and that came out, just a few months ago. Manaj, hey, how's it going? Good one. Good one. Thanks, Manaj. Mirandir is here. How's it going, Mirandir? It's called App Open Ads or something like that. App Open Ads. Hang on, I'm just going to look this up. I know I shouldn't. It's a live stream. It's a live stream. We're all friends here. Admob, App Open Ads. Okay. This is, all of a sudden, it's going to become like a reaction video, because I have not looked at this. So App Open Ads. Have you guys looked at this? Who's tried this? Is it available yet? This guide is intended for publishers. Okay, so App Open Ads are special ad format intended for publishers wishing to monetize their app load screens. Oh, that's perfect. App Open Ads can be closed at any time and are designed to be shown when your users bring your app to the foreground. App Open Ads automatically show a small branding area so the users know that they're in the app. However, here's an example of what an app would look like. Continue. A high level. So one of the things, this looks really good. Prerequisites. Always test with test ads. Yeah, you should always do that. This looks like it would be good, because one of the problems that, like, I wonder what the eCPM is on it, or the RPM is on it. Oh, we're in open beta, are we? So does that mean it's available? Is it available to everybody now? And when was it announced? And why didn't I know about this? Why didn't anybody tell me about this? So like my first ads. So I think I told you guys this when I released my first application. I was like, I use banner ads, but I don't want to do interstitial ads because I don't want to annoy people, which is something that a lot of developers say, but it's one of those things you expect. So I started, and I had a consultation with an Admob person, because the app was doing pretty good, and I got one of these emails saying we could give you a little bit of advice. So I got on the phone with somebody, says, I was looking at your app and you're not using interstitials. And I was like, no, but it's only every fourth time the app opens. So there were times where like nobody would even see this application. So he said most developers are showing interstitial ads a lot more. So then I went to the point where I was showing the interstitial ads right when the app opened, right? It was perfect. Like my ad revenue shot right up, and then I got my ad suspended because they changed the rules, and it's like, you can't do it right then because people they think it's your app because they haven't seen anything else. So so it's got to be at a transition point and all this kind of stuff. So this looks like it would be really helpful to have this, because even if they only look in your app for the first time, or it sounds like you have a lot more opportunities, especially for those of us who have like a one-screen app or just a couple screens. And to be honest with you, not a whole lot of transitions in order to show those interstitial ads. But that's why I'm wondering what the that's why I'm wondering what the RPM is like on them. But they must be so new. Thanks for telling me about that, Ron dear. Let's see. Cord Funk. The weights are obviously just a green screen. Yeah, that's right. Look. Okay, so this morning I did not do the weights at all. But I went for a run. So because of lockdown, it's just been like I've been running a lot. I've been out running, and it's something I haven't been doing. I went for a 7-mile run this morning, and I did on Monday morning and Wednesday morning. And this afternoon, I went to McDonald's and got a triple cheeseburger and a banana milkshake. So, I'm kind of leveling it out. I'm just sort of like I'm peaks and valleys at the moment. So, but yes. I'm trying to lift those more. But I got this really nice TV, and now when I'm lifting weights in front of the TV, there's part of me that thinks, what if like I lose my balance and crash into the TV? Which is just another way of me procrastinating, to be honest with you. Let's see, app open beta ad format that appears when your users switch back to your app. Ad overlays loading screen. I think that's really cool. Let's see. I still can't do pull-ups. I'm gonna say I could do about 6. And the reason I got this pull-up thing in my bedroom, it's like this tall, it's like this wide, and I thought it would just be something I put against the wall, but it's like it's got this big base on it because it's got to be stable. So it's like it's bigger than this desk. So I have to like, it takes up so much room. It's like my cool swank bachelor pad, my bam chicka bam bam became like, it looks like a storage area now. It's like so, but it's cool. But yeah, I'm the same. Pull-ups is the one thing I hate doing pull-ups, and the reason I never do pull-ups is because I'm bad at them, which is like, obviously I'm never gonna get better if I don't do them. But it's like you go to the gym and you're lifting the weights or whatever, and you're like, yeah, I look really manly. Like the bicep curl, manliest thing ever. Bench press, really manly. Sit-ups, not so much because you're like writhing around on the floor, like like panting. It's just like, I don't think that's like a manly thing, but has to be done. But the pull-ups, when you go up there and you're like, okay, let's just knock out 10, and you go, you do 1, 2, and then it's just like, I just don't like doing that. And that's why I don't get any better at it. Let's see, Carol VDW, hey, how's it going? Hey, good to see you here. Victor Crypto says, Eric, do you use Adobe XD in your designing apps UI? No, but I have a designer that's what she uses. Or at least that's what she was using. So I had like the whole Adobe suite. I had two licenses, one for me and one for my designer. And for my virtual assistant, we had like a smaller subset where she just had Adobe Spark. So, and it was one of those things where the outgoing costs of the company were just like, sometimes you have client projects that go on too long, and you're like, we need to get paid for this because we have all this, because I'm spending too much money on stuff. And one of the things I decided to get rid of was Adobe. And Adobe is like, it's one of those things where when you have it, it's really, really useful. But when you're not using it, you realize it's expensive. So I was spending for two licenses and another application through the business one. So it wasn't like, I think if you do it like individually, it's cheaper, but through the business, because it's a business, I was spending £250 a month on Adobe licenses. So when it came up for renewal, I tried to negotiate it down a little bit, and they were kind of like, oh, well, I tried to like negotiate it in the middle, and they're like, well, your contract goes into whatever. So when that contract came up, I was like, I dumped it. So that meant we had to find replacements for all that. So we were using Adobe XD like all the time, and now we're not. Now everything's just done in just plain old, I don't know what she uses actually. I use Balsamic for wireframe. She was using Adobe XD, and we were doing like really elaborate, like the click-throughs and everything. And it was cool because we could show the client. The nice thing about Adobe is that we could show the client exactly how it was going to look, right? We give them the web link. They could go through and look at everything, click through everything. And we still had, sometimes clients would say, they would still come up with like more things. I said, no, you signed off on that bit. I mean, it was really good. And the whole plan with using Adobe XD was we get sign off, and that's the end of it. But then, like I talked about this before, sometimes they just got tired of the design because, whatever. Like, so like, no, we're done with the design phase. We're not going back. We just need to build this thing and then get it out there. But yeah, so we were using it a lot, but at the moment we're not. So, but it's a really cool tool. Oh, it's a cool tool, except I didn't know how to use it. I kind of thought I used Balsamic. I thought, oh, I'll use it too. Sandy, my designer, she can use it, and I'll use it too. And we'll just like, she'll do some and I'll do some. We can collaborate on stuff. And I thought it would be like Balsamic, where I could just drag a button on there, drag whatever on. And it was just really like, it was a lot more complicated. You were like drawing shapes and stuff. So in the end, I never really got that kind of stuff. So, but let's see. Raghav says, what type of movies you like? You saw Tenet, the new movie. I didn't see Tenet. So this summer, sorry, I know we're going all over the place, but that's kind of what we do. This summer, I saw 3 movies at the cinema. I saw Bill and Ted's Face of Music, because I was like really looking forward to that coming out, and it was just as good as I thought it was going to be, which was like, but I was like waiting a long time for this to come out. I saw Bill and Ted. I saw the New Mutants, which was again, it was like, because I was as a teenager, I had issue number 1. Well, there was a graphic novel was the first New Mutants one, and then there was like the series. So I think I had like the first 2 years of comics like in little bags and everything of the New Mutants. So I was kind of disappointed by that movie. And then I went and saw The Matrix, like when they were only showing old movies at the cinema. So that's why I saw this movie. So I did not go see Tenet. I kind of wish I had, because it looked like it was the only good one that came out over the summer. But I got like this big TV. I know you guys can't see it back there, but that was one thing. After the lockdown happened, I just went total full-on bachelor pad, 65-inch TV. Like when I do watch a movie, I want to sit down and watch it. And last night, I was sitting down because it's Thanksgiving, and I thought I'll treat myself a little bit. I watched A Time to Kill, the Matthew McConaughey from the 90s. I watched that and had a bit too much wine, and yeah, it was fun. It was nice. But yeah, I haven't seen Tenet. Has anybody else seen it? Corfax said, not on iPads. The updated iOS can run iPad apps. Yeah, apparently it can. But I don't know how you would find those, actually. And I don't know if it requires so I've upgraded. I'd assume that would be in the App Store. Let me have a quick look. Let me have a look for... Nope. I don't know if it shows... Yeah, I don't know if... I haven't seen it yet. I don't know if that's available yet, but I totally get you, the updated OS. Carol VDW said, do you use betas often? Not for client stuff, but I will for my own stuff. So at the moment, there's... well, sometimes there's some things that are in beta all the time. Like Firebase was in beta all the time. And even Ionic version 1 was beta for forever, right? And until they actually said they go live. And I think a lot of things just do that. So I'm using, there's a client application which I'm doing in Xamarin 5, or Xamarin Forms 5, which is still in beta. And this which it was, I wanted to play around with some of the new features. It was kind of like a prototype type of thing. But for the most part, I don't. But I'm not afraid of using beta software. Like it's but yeah, it's not something that I fear. Thanks for all the likes, by the way, everybody. I really appreciate it. Let's see. Matthew Creek says, I put a Unity app in Raspberry Pi. Really? I mean, can you do that? I would have thought it would be oh, nice. I tried to I have a Raspberry Pi around here. I always do these Raspberry Pis, and I think I'm gonna do these projects. I wanted to have like a YouTube clock that says how many subscribers I have, but I never got around to doing anything with it. And then I thought I would make a digital dashboard thing, and then I thought I'll make it like a media streamer, but like it was like too weak to display media. And so I was surprised you were able to do a Unity app on it. Do you have any trouble with that kind of stuff? KLVDW says, yesterday I found out Admob finally has an Android app, but it's in closed beta, so I still can't use it. Oh, okay. Oh, so like I don't use it, like, yeah, oh, yeah, no, I haven't. Admob has had... No, I'm thinking, like, for me, I've used the AdSense app, which would still have the same stats in it. Billy says, I tried to open app ads, and the eCPM is lower than interstitial ads CPM. I also tried adaptive banner ads, and the CPM is the same as regular banner ads, at least in my experience. Yeah, it's one of those things. I think when rewarded ads came out, Well, like you could use rewarded ads with other services like Bungle and Ad Colony. Is it Ad Colony? But then then when it came out in Admob, I thought, okay, I'll use rewarded ads, and then I'll make a lot more money because the people, they actually want to see the ads and they're actually electing to see it, and you're rewarding them, so all this kind of stuff. But I found it to be like I did not see a huge increase in that either. And one of the reasons why I haven't tried native ads is just because I haven't heard anybody say, dude, native ads, eCPM just blows everything else away. It's just been kind of like But if anybody else has used native ads, what has your experience been like? Because I'd like to hear that. Brondier says, Eric, can my family members rate my app? New apps are very hard to increase numbers, I guess. Can they ban me if someone rates the app within the same Wi-Fi internet? I wouldn't think so. No, I mean, I think they take, I mean, how many is going to be, like 4, 5? Like, I don't think there's going to be any, I don't think they'd ban you. I've done it. I've done it. Like, you try to get like as many people to do it. Especially if you get like that. Like, I told you guys this before, but my first ever rating, like back in 2012, was like a 1 star. It was like, WTF, this sucks. And I didn't want to rate it. For some reason, I didn't want to rate it myself. I thought that would be dishonest. I've done it since then. I was just like, you might as well, like, if anybody's going to rate it, I don't leave a review like, this guy is so awesome. But I'll leave a star rating. So I asked my son if he would rate it just to bring it up to like, could you just give it a 5 star and just bring it up to, so that way at least goes up to a 3. And he gave it a 3 star. He goes, it's not that good, Dad. He gave me like a 3 star. So it brought it up to 2. But then eventually it went back up. So, but yeah, I think you'll be okay. Zero's Supremacies. I use Figma for designs. It's free and it's really powerful with a big community behind. I've heard about Figma. I think my designer, she told me a lot about Figma, but I haven't actually tried it myself. Let's see. Matthew Creek says I use AdSense to monitor Admob on mobile. That's what the one I use too. Corey says pull-ups are like PHP. Sucks while you're doing it. Yeah, that's right. You're like, well, yeah, that's right. Lou Joseph, hey Lou, how's it going? Says, do you think someone could become an app developer part-time? Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you're doing your own application, like a lot of indie developers are doing it part-time. But like if it's something you want to be paid for, yeah, definitely. You can find somebody on you probably get some work on Upwork doing that kind of stuff. I mean, I've seen people do it all the time. I mean, the more profile you have, the better. But yeah, I mean, there's like a lot of the stuff when we talk about, like with me with my own apps, it was like, yeah, it was doing it in the early mornings and then at night, and I was working during the day. Of course, I was still doing software development during the day, but it wasn't like my own stuff. It was like other people's stuff. So, you can't just sit there and work on your own projects when you're at somebody else's office, obviously. So like everything I did was like, just those, stealing hours from other areas. And so to build up my own kind of stuff. But yeah, no, definitely. I think you definitely could. I don't know, like I don't know if I've ever seen anybody hiring a part-time developer. Unless part-time means, just help us when things break. I mean, there's a lot of companies out there who they just need somebody to support their applications and not do, like, they don't need like a full-time person just sitting there, doing nothing. They might need, little customizations and tweaks and stuff like that. But yeah, I think you could. Yep, sure. Let's see. Nicoletta says I was never banned for this, but developed after more than 10 years. Yeah, that was like, yeah, it doesn't seem like, I think, of course, don't overdo it. I think the same thing. I think you see people out there who are just obviously paying for fake reviews, and they're getting away with it. And I don't think Google's trying to stop you from getting, like, your family to, like, you're not doing anything dishonest. You're just getting, like, you gotta get as many friends and family and stuff to rate it. It's like there's nothing inorganic about that, except for the fact that you're like, come on, do it, right? You're trying to do that in the app too. You're trying to get them, come on, leave a review, please. Rate this app. What do you think? So yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. Thanks, Nicoletta. Carol VDW says previous comment didn't get through. Okay. Zero Supremacy says, well, Raspberry Pi is just a computer, and you can generate Unity games for any platform you want, including Linux. Yeah, but doesn't it require like a better graphics processor than you get with a Raspberry Pi? When I think of Unity, and again, I'm not a Unity developer, I always think of it in like a 3D type of thing. So, by the way, yeah, Nicoletta, you've been doing apps longer than I have, 2 years longer than I have. So I'm glad you can make it here. Really, yeah, thanks. Let's see. Mohit says, "Hey Eric, don't you think there are too many apps in the store asking for unnecessary permission?" Yeah, I think there. I mean, it's really weird. It's yeah, and that's why it's at least on the iOS side, it's good that you can say why you need that permission. I had I had so many well, I think I talked about this 4 or 5 years ago, where a lot of ad companies, well, they say they were ads, but they were like, you don't need to display ads, but we'll give you per user, you'll get something. We'll only need access to the microphone. Like really dodgy stuff like that. And my whole thing, because my app had the word spy in the title, like anytime I asked for any kind of permission, I had to be like, really careful about what I asked for. And a lot of times you think, you want to re-engage your users, so you ask for push notification permission. Like, can this app send you notifications? And a lot of times your motivation is like, so you can just like, hey, remember you have this app or whatever. And like when you download an app and it asks you, you're like, no, why would it need to send me? So you need to make that good argument. But yeah, I definitely think there is. But I think people are more savvy about it now than they ever have been before. So you're still giving me a 4-star rating? No, he did not. He did not give me a 4-star rating. And yet to this day, I'm still like, he was like, God, how old was he at the time? It was, I guess he was 14. Yeah, I guess it was 14. And I was like, yeah, he wasn't going to give me the full 5-star rating. Yeah. Hey, Bart Raka. Hey, happy Friday, everyone. Hey, happy Friday, Bart. Happy Good Friday. Black Friday. Not Good Friday. Black Friday. My appeal worked, and the Apple review team wrote a very polite and point-by-point rejection response stating my claim that they were very reasonable and approved quickly. See, that's cool. A lot of times, I always fear Apple. Because Apple, you can get people on the phone. Like you say, can I speak to a reviewer? You can get somebody to call you up. They never really overturned my 4.3 guideline things, but yeah, that's cool. Let's see. Cortify says Figma is great. I think I've looked at that. I think I didn't realize it was actually free. I thought it was like free in terms of free for one project or free for one whatever, but I'll have to have a look at it. Honest son. Yeah, but you know what? He's my flesh and blood. I gave him life. He couldn't give me 5 stars? Really? Come on. You don't think that's like a, I think that's fair, right? I think he's making out pretty well with that. Yeah. If you go to your friend, even if you go to your friend and say, hey, just give me a review on this, help me get like a bit of, some social proof and everything. By the way, and like, I've seen people who get their friends to leave a review, and their friends will say stuff like, I've had my developers do it. Like, I had a development team in India, and we had this review saying, great. First of all, they always say, great APK, developer is awesome, or something like that, or developer is great, right? And the developer came to me and he says, that was my friend. I didn't tell him to write that. It's like, that's fine. But like sometimes you get your friends to leave a review and they look like paid fake reviews. So like, you want them to be honest. Even my son, when he didn't give me the 5-star review, you really want them to be honest. Like you want them to put that stuff out there. You don't want to like, incentivize them. I mean, you kind of do, but yeah, I shouldn't have said what I said about I gave him life, but it's true. Sumi says the Apple Store commission cut is going to happen after a little more than a month. It would have been good, more exciting if they did it right away. What do you think? Yeah, I think so. Well, I think that would, except I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, I need to get an app out there. I think at the moment, I've only got like 3 apps out there. If I show you, because a lot of them were removed from the 4.3 thing, a lot of them I kept on there, and then I had to upgrade them, and I couldn't because they weren't approving them anymore, and I haven't consolidated them into the granddaddy generic, bland, stupid app that they want me to do as a container application. But yeah, I think yeah, it would have been nice if they did it right away. Because especially for actually, yeah, they should have done it right away to reward the people who have actually stuck with Apple rather than all the people who might flood into it in a month's time and release their apps and their subscriptions right away. Um, let's see. For Figma, you can use your own browser directly, cloud, or download it if you want. Okay. It's made in C++ and available on the web thanks to WebAssembly. Cool. WebAssembly is was really interesting, dude. Last week I was playing around with Blazor, right? Because since I started doing Xamarin earlier this year, and back in the old days, while all of you guys were just children, I was a C# developer, so I was doing just wasn't that long ago, but like I was doing like ASP.NET and SharePoint, like SharePoint development, and MVC framework and stuff like that. So when I looked at Blazor using the WebAssembly, when it was Fist007 on the live stream who told me about it, I'm thinking that would be so much easier than Angular, right? I want to just go straight into that. My whole thing is I'm trying to integrate it with Firebase, and because there's just not a lot of information on integrating a WASM Blazor application with Firebase, because you're going from C# into JavaScript, and there's some bridge thing happening there, and I'm trying to figure it out. But so maybe some of you guys know how to do it. Like what I want to do is I want to be able to have so I have this admin site, which is an Angular 8, which uses Firebase authentication. So obviously you authenticate with Firebase, and we use Firestore rules for the Firebase authentication rules using custom claims, right? And all that's fine. It works fine, except Angular is not really my favorite language. I mean, it was Angular 1 was. I loved Angular 1. I loved Ionic version 1, but like I just never really got into Angular 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever they are now, right? So I thought Blazor would be perfect. I could do the same thing in Blazor, except because I think it might be just because it's a Microsoft side, and a lot of the documentation I could find has to do with Azure. But I mean, I've been thinking a lot about WebAssembly. The reason I want WebAssembly as opposed to a server-hosted application is because I could host the whole thing in Firebase, host it in Firebase, Firebase backend, Firebase authentication, Firebase push notifications, Firebase cloud functions, everything in Firebase, one thing. It just goes up, and I like the idea of that. JK Multi says, how to start with new Admob account preventing limitations. A lot of people ask about it. I think one of the big things you have to do is make sure that when you're testing your application, make sure that you have the test device in the code. So, and it's not easy to. You have to look at the logcat. Well, on iOS anyway. Sorry, on Android anyway. You watch the logcat so you can get that device ID, and it will tell you in logcat, to add that as a test ID. That way you don't get those, get the limitations that way. But I think they just limit it now anyway. It seems like everybody I know has been asking about it. So, Corfix says, really want to make some audio stuff with it. High performance audio might actually be possible now. We're talking about on a Raspberry Pi. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe it would. When I think about Raspberry Pi, I think about a friend I had. He was like, he wasn't a developer, but he was kind of like, he was in one of the technology teams that I was in. And I met him years later, and he talked about how he built a jukebox with a Raspberry Pi. So he got a speaker and a jukebox and everything. And he put it in, and he says his wife just wants to know how to listen to Radio 4. Like, she just complains because she can't do it. He's like, okay, all you have to do is type in this, it's like, like a geek, right? So like, it's like us. Like, oh, all you have to do is type in this command and then this command, this command, and let's do it. She's like, can I, the other one I just flip a button. So, but anyway, it sounded really cool when he told me about it. You can't also make 2D games in Unity. Yeah, you can. In fact, I was strange. So last weekend, I thought I am going to sit down again because of the Apple thing, because the Apple 15%. I thought I'm going to sit down. I'm going to make these bubble bath games. I'm going to move them in out of Corona SDK or out of Solar 2D into a language that I fully understand now, because I knew those languages, but I'm not sure how much longer they're going to be supported. So I know somebody says, why don't you move them into Unity? And I every time I look at a Unity tutorial, I think I just want to look at code. There's too much going on. There's too many drop downs and side menus and all this and it throws me. Like, I just want to see what the code is. And I know probably a lot of you guys who are Unity developers, you know all this kind of stuff, but I don't want to drag and drop interface. I don't want to drag something on there and then double click on it and then I get some code. I just want the code. So what I did was I moved everything. First I looked at I moved everything into a Xamarin Forms, and I thought, okay, I understand how game loops work. I understand how object-oriented programming works. All I have to do is on each page, I'll just have the if you've ever done like a game in JavaScript, like just from scratch, not using a framework, but just like you have your loop, right? So you have your game loop, which will be just the timer, right? And then on every single step through it, you add an object to a collection. You go through, and every one of those objects has a move method and a render method or whatever. So you're just going, you move, and then that way you can code the logic in each one of those components, right? I thought I'd do all that, and it was really good, except it ran horribly. It was terrible. It was like, it was like 3 hours of just, I was like, oh, screw this. But it's still something I still need to do. Anyone tried running Flutter on a Raspberry Pi? No, I haven't. Let's see. Matt says, I'm receiving $8 a day on average this month. That's 4 times my normal. Cool. I mean, this is any idea why? Every time we run up to Christmas, I mean, this year is like exceptional. I've noticed my Admob have gone up too. It's probably about the same as yours though at the moment. It's such a drastic fall. But I can show you guys my daily revenue if you're interested. But yeah, on the run up to Christmas, the ad revenue just goes up. I mean, a lot of people are advertising, and across the board, we do see that rise, and then it'll go down again in January. Let's see. Calculator that needs permission to access, make phone calls and camera. Yeah. Sometimes, yeah, I mean, this is something that I always think I should test, but I never do, is like how your application responds during the middle of a call. Like, do you guys ever test that? Do you ever go like, so you're using your app, a lot of stuff, like if it's a forms-based app, it's probably not that big a deal. You get the call and you go back to it. But like if you have something like a game or something where you're actually in the middle of doing something and an incoming call comes in and you leave the game to continue that call, do you ever think, do you ever test that? Like what happens? Because I always think I'm going to do it and I never do. Let's see, because of Black Friday deals, etc. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. So Carol VDW says, I finally published my first Unity project to the Play Store in beta. Could you give some feedback? It's called Dicey, and it's published under the account of Bazov. Perfect. I'm glad you gave me so much information. Let's have a look. I'm just going to bring it up here for a second. Dun, dun, dun. Say it called Dicey. There's a few of them with that name. Bazov. I'll say B-A-Z-O-E-F. Here we go. Okay, so Dicey, cheat and prank friends with rigged dice early access. Okay, let's. I just have this thing. I have this thing about the word prank in apps, in app descriptions. But okay, let's see. With hidden buttons to cheat friends and customize the dice, Dicey offers an ultimate way to cheat your friends in the dice game. Prank your friends, win the game, fool them. They'll be none the wiser. Press and hold the button for 1 second. Okay, we got 5+ install. So I mean, if we look at Dicey, I mean, that name seems to be used a lot. Let's see. Like this one, brush. Jeez. Let's see. Let's go back. Air. Let's get Dicey prank. Prank dice, loaded dice, cheat dice. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Matthew, it looks like, sorry, Carol VDW, it looks like you got a lot of competition there. Let's see. Base OEF. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, actually. Hey, that's, wait a second. You got 2 of them on there. Dicey, cheat dice. Okay. You're in competition with yourself. Which one does better? Okay, so I do like the screenshots. I think the screenshots look really good. I think the screenshots are well done. I'm not sure about the concept of the app, but I mean, what do the rest of you guys think? I'm trying to think. Yeah, it's one of those things where, as a scenario, I think I couldn't really see myself using it, so it's really difficult for me to say. But if I was to say prank dice, let's say loaded dice. Yeah, so you're ranking pretty well. I mean, Dicey isn't, but your other one is. Fake dice. Yeah, so you're up there. Oh, all right, what do the rest of you guys think? Let's see, probably. Like I said, what is a minimum equipment you would recommend for iOS app development? I did native in Unity dev for Android platform so far. So you know what? I think for me, I went full on Mac back in like 2013, and I am not a Mac guy. I just never was. So like I would have preferred to just do Windows, but I think you need to have something. I think probably the minimum. Let's see, one thing, I've never done this, but I always think getting a Mac Mini, and we also tried to do something where we just use like Mac and cloud could possibly be a solution, but I've never actually done it. Like, because at least then you could just rent it. Because the thing about using like Unity and these cross-platform frameworks is like you only need to test it in the other platform, right? You need to just make sure that you need to test and compile it. So there's a lot of stuff that if you're comfortable on Windows, that would make perfect sense. Now what I have trouble with is a lot of times with if I've hired developers who don't have a Mac, and sometimes I make a requirement if I hire somebody, just because like it's so many times they'll give me something where, yeah, it should be cross-platform, yeah, it should work on an iPhone, but whatever, they're using OGG format instead of AAB, or they're not using MP3 or whatever. Or we're still using Wave, which will work on everything except the file size is huge. Or they'll use, sometimes like a good example is one where the developer do something and they gave it to me, none of the audio worked, or the app crashes, and they go, well, it doesn't crash for me on Android, and it's like, well, iOS is just, I mean, iOS it'll just crash on you. Like if it has memory issues, like there's no warnings or anything. It's just like you load an image that's too big and then it just crash, right? Or whatever. So that kind of stuff is just annoying, and you don't get the same kind of like I find it much more difficult to read iOS logs than I do like a logcat type of thing. So, but yeah, I think if you have like a Mac Mini, or even just getting like a cheap old, Mac that will run like the latest stuff, because you just need, I guess, what do you need for? I've done so lately I'm doing a lot of Xamarin stuff and so I know that I can compile everything. So Xamarin does not use Xcode, right? But it uses its own kind of way to upload it. Corona, it was the same. It didn't use Xcode, but you did generate the IPA and then use the application loader to upload it. So I'm not exactly sure which one it uses, but yeah, I mean, like I totally get you. Like getting I went full on. I went full Mac, right? And in the beginning, dude, I nearly sent it back because I was my laptop was, I was doing contract work. So I was like, when I was first getting into apps, I was doing contract work and switching the command and the control button around. It messed me up so much in the head because I was like, shortcut keys are my, as a developer, that's our macho thing, right? You're like, to use the mouse, and then so that just totally messed everything up on me, right? And I was like nearly going to send it back. I thought, what am I thinking? I'm not going to do any Mac development, or I'm not going to do any iOS development. I'm going to let my developers do that. I'm just going to test and criticize. But in the end, I was doing it, and and then also video editing, all this kind of stuff. So I've gone full overboard. So I don't think you need that much, especially if you're going to do the majority of your development. If you're going to do the majority of your development on Windows, then you only need the Mac for the compilation. I've seen a lot of Xamarin developers, like on YouTube and stuff, and they're able to connect to a remote Mac and just to do their compilation and all that kind of stuff, which seems really cool to do. And I think you just want that minimum spec to do it, because even if it takes a long time to compile, and when I say a long time, I mean like 60 seconds, 30 seconds. The majority of your stuff's going to be done on your Windows thing. So I think you just need that one little thing. Like a Mac Mini would be good, or an older Mac Mini, or I think it might be one of the nice things about this M1 stuff coming out. Because you might be able to get like an old Mac Mini cheap. It always bothers me if I buy something for like one thing. Like if I wanted to buy like a Mac Mini for just compiling applications, then I don't care about all the other stuff it has on it. I just want that one thing that it could do. So, and Rodrigo, I don't know if he's going to join us on the live stream, but I know he's talked a lot about having Hackintosh on VirtualBox, and I don't know how well that works. And I've always been tempted by the Hackintosh route too. My fear is that Apple's Apple, and they could just like something might work one day and it won't work the next day. And I think of using a Hackintosh the same way I do about using LibreOffice. Every so often, something doesn't look right, and you don't know if it's the tool that you're using or if something else is wrong. So at least if you're using an official Mac tool, then you'll know that at least it's not that. But I don't know. That's just my opinion. You could disagree. Let's see. Cord Funk says, life can be pretty rough sometimes. He might have been punishing you. Oh, is this fun? Yeah. But, John, I got you. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Your emails about Flutter this week. Flutter rocks. No more native development for me, apart from my day job, of course. Have a great weekend, everyone, and smash that like button. Yeah, smash that like button, everyone. Yeah, I've been using Flutter for a project, and I really like the hot reload. I love the hot reload. I hate the red screen of you did something wrong. like you just doing something. It's like, oh, red screen. What did I do wrong this time? And every so often, even though it's like hot reload, and it could be the way that I'm loading the data. Every so often, I still have to do a full compilation reload, but it's not that often. So especially when you're just tweaking the user interface and stuff, it's not But Corey says, I never got into Azure. Pricing on Microsoft platform was a pain at least a few years ago. Yeah, I find that too. I find that, and that's one of the reasons why every so often I'll look at it, and the same with Azure, though. I'm sorry, not Azure. Same with AWS. Like AWS, like I can never understand. Like, okay, I mean, I know it's cool that they're charging by the hour, but every so often, like if you need a server that's like a web server, then you don't need it by the hour. You need it by, like you need to be available all the time. Because at first I thought, huh, is it possible that, you can have a website that you only get charged when somebody hits it? No, it still has to be served. Like, you still have to have that thing listening, right? So you still have to have it, right? So the fact that they would never really show you the the fact that it would never show you like the monthly cost, like it seemed just crazy to me. But I do use AWS a lot. Oh, and permissions on AWS are just like, oh, you set up a security group, and then you do like, you got all you have to open up your IP addresses and everything, which is fine, but then you have to set up a security group, and that security group goes over here or whatever, and then you got this JSON thing all of a sudden where you're just going through and out and all this, there's permissions to your buckets and stuff. Ugh. And yeah, and Azure, I've never gotten into Azure either, and I do a lot of work with teams now that do Azure stuff, and I've done stuff with Notification Hub, which I had to set up my own just to figure out how it all worked for push notifications. But yeah, I haven't got into Azure really either. And there's always the funny thing. It seems like there's always an equivalent of this kind of stuff. Like, I was trying to think. So I'm looking at Blazor, and Blazor, like, it connects to Azure just fine, but that uses Signal R, so you get the real-time updates. And I think, was it Cosmos DB is a little bit like Firestore or Firebase real-time database, and you got so you got all this weird, like, stuff are just similar. Like, Beanstalk on AWS is similar to Heroku because you just have, which is the same as app services in Azure, if I got that right. And it's just like they're all kind of the same, but they're all different. So so I don't know. I like using Firebase. I think the thing with Firebase is you have to use Firebase to use push notifications on Android anyway. So why not just do everything through Firebase? Because it's gonna have to feature in there somehow anyway. But with Azure, Carol VW, the new Netflix show Queen's Gambit. I watched all of them already. Which is about chess, has boosted my chess app quite a bit. Oh, that's fantastic. It's nice to be part of that trend, even if it was by accident. No, that's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, that's really cool. If only a dice game comes out. All right, hopefully it'll be like the Dice Gambit comes out, and you can do the other one too. Let's see, on the web. There's also a way to add test devices inside Admob console. Is there? I did not know that. I've not seen that. For me, like, adding it through, like, watching the Admob, finding out what my test device is, adding that into the code, where I would have, like, at one point, because, like, for some reason it would change from time to time. So, like, I had like this huge block of test devices, where it says add test device. It could be like another 20 lines of the code, like .add test device, and then that go, and then add that test device. Let's see. Doing high performance audio on the web with WASM. Oh, with WASM, I thought you were talking about Raspberry Pi. Oh, that would be cool, actually. Some reason why I hate Xcode. Some much magic stuff that happens that never works. Yeah, for me, Xcode, it seems like it was designed by a drunken person. I mean, it's like sometimes you find stuff in there, like, and you're like, okay, like, for me, I never understood why, like, if I'm in an IDE and then I could, whatever, you have your solution on the left, you click on it, opens up the code like Xcode does, but if you double click on it, it opens up in a new window, and in that window, and then you got all this stuff all over the place. And you got, but it's got some really cool stuff in there. Like when you find the memory like you see the memory management, everything like that, but it's like kind of dug down. It's like, it's just, but to be honest with you, I think the same thing about Adobe tools. Like, it's like, why is the learning curve so high on this? Like, why are you putting this stuff all over the place? But that's just me. What would you recommend? Facebook ads or Admob? Facebook ads network or Admob? I would try both of them. I think one of the reasons why I don't use Facebook ad network so much is because the global audience that it has. So, I don't know. See, I've been an Admob. I'm an Admob man myself. I've been using Admob for years. However, I've spoken to people who started using Facebook network, and I've used Facebook network in the past, like through Admob mediation, and I just did not find much I did not get much benefit from it. To me, it was like, I was kind of like, I was not impressed. But I've talked to other people who are like, Facebook does way better for them. So, and they're using it natively. So what I would do, JK, is try both of them. Zero Supremacy says, yeah, me too. I hate so much interface fluff, but you can pretty much do everything via code in C#, which is great. Oh, you talk about on the Unity. Oh yeah, well I suppose so. Yeah, I mean that's what I would like to see. In fact, you're starting to see this in .NET. In Xamarin, where I guess the new version is going to be Maui, which is, which I believe, from what I've seen of Maui, it's going to be a bit more like Flutter, where it's just you're designing it and you have the hot reload and everything, rather than the XAML and then the code behind. Which I'm okay with the XAML and the code behind, but I really don't like using two different languages. I'd rather just do one thing, right? So if I can find a way to do the same thing in Unity, where I just have like one code window, and I don't have to like learn all these other things. I mean, it's I'd rather do everything through code if I could, which might be possible, but. Shunga Walker, hey Shunga, why are people saying that apps are on the decline, near extinction? Where's this coming from? And most importantly, are they on the decline? I don't think that. I think if there's one thing I've seen is that I think there's a lot of really terrible apps out there. Like when I started back in 2012. And there was a lot of people talking about, app reskinning, you get rich with app reskinning. All you have to do is put something in the App Store and you'll get rich. And I think last week I talked about Chad Moretta and the App Empire and how his whole thing was like, you just put an app out there and the money just flows in, and there was all these promises of riches and everything like that. All these people trying to sell you their books or their courses or whatever, right? But there's one thing I've noticed in the last few months is that I'm using apps now more than I ever have, right? I ordered, like I said, I ran 7 miles this morning and then I went to McDonald's for lunch, right? So, but when I went to McDonald's, I ordered through the app because they're trying to get you to, not touch anything. And when I've been to a lot of pubs when they were open, like the short period between lockdowns when they were open, and they want you to order using their app. So they're like, all these places are wanting you to download their app. And now we're like, yeah, okay. Like we're actually doing it more now. So I think there's a lot more opportunity out there, and they're getting people back into those app stores. Whereas before, it kind of did seem like, like for me as a user, I don't spend all that time. Like I don't go into the app stores and say, let's see what's new. But I will think, if I need something, or I could be pushed into it. Like I could be recommended into it, which is why I think this whole instant apps and app. What is it? It's instant apps and what is it? App snippets? I can't remember what it is, the Apple equivalent. Sometimes the names for these things, they just blend in with me. But I think those are going to be cool because that gets you that, you're able to just scan a barcode or touch an MFC thing and just be able to use the application and have the, and then also be able to download it. I think it's going to be a lot of opportunities for like client work going forward. Let's see. Carol VDW, that's an older, worse version of native Android. The new one is Unity. Huh. Okay. I have an old MacBook Air 2015. That's too slow. Okay. Cool. Let's see. I would recommend something more powerful. At least you're gonna use if you're gonna use Xcode. Yeah, but like if you're only gonna be like compiling with Xcode, yeah, I suppose it should be a little bit powerful. Of course, folks, Firebase pricing is also difficult, but I've never had an issue. I pay shamelessly little to Firebase for what they provide. Yeah, you have to design that thing right. I told the story about how we had an application we did for a client where like we're in development, there are no users or like 4 test users, and we got this bill for like £200, right? It was like, we reached our limit within like 2 days. So what happened was the developer said they didn't know how to use Firebase functions, and I kind of wish they did because that would have solved all this problem. So we had like another Linux server which was running Node.js using was it P2Mon? With the one whatever. So it was running Node.js processes with that. So basically, it was doing these calculations on an hourly basis, where it was like just downloading the entire real-time database, performing these calculations, and then updating the real-time database. And that just blew everything out of the water. Like it was just like it was so expensive. So now when I am designing something, I am thinking about the Firebase, the read costs, and the write costs. Firestore. Firestore is easier because you don't need to get you shouldn't have had to get the top of the tree to begin with the real-time database. But at least with Firestore, you're dealing with documents, so you have the document read and then the sub-collections and all that kind of stuff. And to me, it seems to be a lot more forgiving in that way. So I actually I'm enjoying the pricing there. But I still, like, if I have to use document storage, I'll still use AWS S3 bucket rather than Firestore, because the Firestore was like, it was cost, or not Firestore, but Firebase, whatever, Firebase objects, Firebase, whatever, that was costing a lot of money. Let's see, Ron Deere, anyone work with PDF and Flutter? I want to write some stuff on PDF and let my user save the PDF file. What's the best library for that? I have done a PDF reader in Flutter, and we're having trouble with it now. We're showing black lines on certain phones, so that's like it's on my task list, which I have to look at. So it's either I need to find another PDF view, but yeah. So yeah, I got and CordFunk says native PDF view. I think that's what we're using, but it's just a display. Yeah, so you'd have to find something else to write it. Seems like a good library. That's the same one I'm using. Admob setting test device. Oh, I'm gonna have a look here. I'm gonna have a look where you guys can't see it actually, because I'm not allowed to show my Admob. Get in trouble. Admob. What was it? Admob test settings. I didn't know. Was this there? Has this been here for a long time? Let's have a look. So you can. So on Admob, if you go, I got policy violations, by the way, on apps that no longer even are published. So if you get onto settings, add test device, device name, platform. Oh, the IDFA. How do you find it? Advertising IDFA. Okay, yeah, I've never used this one, but it seems like it'd be cool. Let's see. What's a quick? Zarabeth Ethiopia says, "What's the cheapest way to acquire users? You go out on the street and you say, 'Hey, download my app,' and then you grab them and you force them to do it. It's the cheapest way, but it's also the slowest way." So, I think if you start to build an audience through social media, it's not gonna be as fast as if you're able, because the whole thing with advertising is trying to get in front of as many people that are the target audience. So if there's a way that you could do that, let's say if your target audience is chess, let's say it's chess people who play chess, then you might put out a lot of content about chess and then mention your app in there too, or try to build that audience, and then that you have a group of people that you can try to put that in front of. Let's see. Sunit says, could there be a next lawsuit against Apple to give back the 15% commission they have collected till now? Oh, wouldn't that be nice? No, I don't. I think the fact that they've caved, and I don't think they had to. Right? Like a lot of people, it's criminal they took so much, but we kind of all knew it going in. They developed this whole platform, right? And it's theirs, right? Android has a competitor. What we should be saying is, why did Google not come? Like, if they came out with this more open platform, why are they still charging the same thing that Apple was? Right? Apple's the one. They were the first movers there. We know that Apple's expensive. Why are Google charging the same? right? So they didn't really have to do it, but they did. They, I like to say they caved, but probably just didn't want the hassle of all that kind of stuff. So Zarama says, when's your next live stream? We try to do it every Friday, so every Friday night. Every Friday night at 5 o'clock UK time. So instant app and app clips. That's it. Thanks, Theo. God, sometimes these terms, they just keep stuff. Let's see. How much would you pay per download on a Google Ads or Facebook ad? It depends on, like, if it's for a paid application, then it's really easy to figure out. Like, but if you're paying, like, you got to think about your cost per user. So if you're paying to acquire users and you're doing it for a free application, which you're making ad revenue from, your goal should not be the acquisition of those users. It should be the acquisition of, it should be the acquisition of those users, but in order to gain some momentum. So you want to go strike hard and fast, right? So if you're going to put that money in, you want to get all those users quickly, so you rank a little bit, and then you get more people actually finding the application, not on an ongoing basis, because it's not sustainable. If you have a paid application where you're charging £5 per download, and it's costing you whatever $1, $2, or $3 per acquisition, then that's a no-brainer too, right? So I think it really depends on how much you're making from those users. Like when I was making from Admob, I started looking at it. I was making pennies from every user. Like, it was not enough to support running ads long term. Thanks everybody for hitting the like button, by the way. Appreciate it. Lazy Inventor Tamil. Dude, I love that's a cool name. Lazy Inventor Tamil says, hi, to start using Admob 3 days before, and yesterday I got a notification say ad serving limited placed on your Admob account. It's a Admob account been accessed. I don't know what to do. I think a lot of people are getting this. I haven't gotten it recently, but I think it's a lot of the newer accounts are getting it. So I'm not quite sure. I know a lot of people out there have had it and got over it. So for those guys who are no longer limited on your Admob account, how long did it take you to get over it? And is there anything specifically you did? Zeramart says, how is it that you create an ad on Google Play? To appear on top for a specific search term without creating a whole app install campaign on Google Ads. Please show us how. So what I've done is universal app campaigns, UAC, on just using AdSense. Because then it will be YouTube, and then also, you got the search ads, but let's see. Team up with somebody who already has an audience. Yeah, cool. You get less percent, but expand the pie might be worth it. Oh, okay, that's in terms of that. Did you set test device IDs on the code, Lazy Inventor Tamil? Yeah, that's what I keep saying. Like, make sure that you do that. Hi, Eric. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that would be, make sure you have the test device on there. Laughing on the streets. Is that what it means? Laughing in the streets. Alan Wroolie, my cousin, says, hi, Eric. Hope you're doing great. Having a great day. I am. Apple developers, good news last week about lowering commission. It only took them 12 years. Yeah, I know, but they could have, like I said, they could have done nothing. They could have done nothing, and they haven't. So, Raghav says, why you skip my questions? Because I don't see it. It's not intentional. This is what I see when I look at your question, Raghav. It's just a dot. So, if you could ask again, probably be a good idea. By the way, yeah, I get this a lot. I'm literally, I try to respond to everything. If you notice, I do not skip questions. So if I did not answer your question, ask again. Yeah, I might not have seen it. Someone did. Apple reduced it to lure us to buy new Macs. It's a trap. I don't know. I think every YouTuber I've seen lately is, if they're talking about what a game changer the M1 chip is on a MacBook Air and a MacBook Pro. But I don't know. Believe it when I see it. Although I would like to get a MacBook Air. God, what's happening to me? I'm just like, just becoming an Apple fanboy. Jetin says, do you make native apps or use any frameworks? Yeah, I use mostly frameworks. So, I used to use some native stuff. I found native just to be just a bit more difficult. Like, you got so many good frameworks out there. You've got, you got Flutter, you've got React Native, you've got Xamarin, you've got Unity, you've got all this kind of stuff out there, which you can do for, for both platforms. So I know a lot of people a lot of guys who are watching this are native developers, right? But yeah, I prefer to use frameworks. Corfix said, if you were not using a framework in 2020, you better be a framework developer. Ariel says, I like the video you uploaded on Veterans Day. It would have been nice to have been born in the States. The Mexican Armed Forces suck so much. Enjoy your night, Mr. Wroolie. Thanks very much, Ariel. I thought that was a bit like, I wasn't quite sure if I should like I'm just sitting there telling army stories, and I wasn't sure if that would be just like boring, but it was fun to reminisce. Thanks for putting up with me on that, Ariel. Did you celebrate Thanksgiving, Eric? No, I'm celebrating it tomorrow. I bought a turkey. I bought stuff to make pumpkin pie. I've got potatoes. I've got carrots. They're all sitting on my counter over here. But I was going to do it yesterday, and it's like, it's just difficult to do it on a Thursday when everybody's at school. Like, I'm working, so I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm going to have my my son over, and we're going to have like a full Thanksgiving tomorrow. So, but yeah, I did celebrate it by like at lunchtime I went and had a burger, which I did today too, actually. Ooh, it's bad. It's a bad trend. I went and had a burger for lunch, and then last night I made myself some barbecue chicken, which was just really, really good. And then I drank too much wine and watched a movie. But yeah. Zeramar says, thank you so much, Overpass. Ask for answering all our questions. Really appreciate it. Keep up the good live streams. Oh, thanks very much. Appreciate it. Flock6 says, Apple has declined my drinking game app, saying it's enticing excessive alcohol consumption. There are many similar apps on their store, though. I appealed twice already. Any tips, Eric? Well, I think that's a tough one. I've had apps that especially when they get like at the core of actually what it is. I've had a client application which we released it, and they said it was in bad taste, which was like, what the hell does that mean, right? And it wasn't that bad. It was like, and I think if you said there's similar ones on the store, I don't think you'll get very far that way. I had my EarSpy application was approved, but EarSpy Pro was I've said this before, was they did not allow EarSpy Pro because it had the word spy in it, right? And I could have said, but you approved the other one, but I didn't want them to remove the other one. So it was like, I just sort of let it go. What I would do, Floxic, is I would create another build, maybe change the title or something, just tone it down a little bit. Don't change the game itself, maybe change the title, change whatever, and upload it again, and just keep battering away at it, right? If you've appealed twice, like with Google, I think you just keep appealing, but with Apple, I think if you do something just to show that you're doing it. Another thing with Apple is you could get them on the phone and say, like, I don't understand what it is I'm doing wrong here. Can I please have a conversation with the reviewer, and then they'll call you. Now, it's not immediately, right? And they'll always call you when you're not near your phone. Like, it's like, but at least you'll have that, and then you can ask them about it. And what I would do is like just be very polite and not just be like, oh no, I really think this will be useful for people. A lot of people really like it. I've seen, I know there's other things out there that do similar, but they're not nearly as good. And I think we do it in a much more tasteful manner. And a lot of people out there have been asking for an application like this. So what do I have to do to make it a little bit better, right? And a lot of times they won't tell you like specifically what you should do, but that's why I think you should just be very aloof, and just making minor changes and then upload it again, right? You don't want to look like you're like you can only get so far with disagreeing with them, but you can be like, if you're trying to show that you're complying, right? You're making the changes that need to be made. I mean, like within reason. You're not going to go like rewrite the whole thing. You're not going to change but like you're saying, okay, I've changed the icon, I've changed the title, I've whatever, So I think, and just put it up there like if you when you were a kid and you cleaned your room and your parents say it's not good enough, and then you do like one little thing says, "How about now? How about now? How about now?" And you just wear them down. You can try that. Let's see. Sunit says users can use apps on airplane mode so they don't see ads. Was that always a significant loss of ad revenue in your experience? I would not know. I have no idea how I would know that. But yeah, it's a good question. Don't lose your watch the size of the turkey. I don't know if it's a turkey crown, right? It's very difficult to buy a turkey for 2 people. Actually, it's gonna be 3 people. But it's a turkey crown, which I don't know what that means. I never bought the turkey crown before. I think there might not be a cavity in it, but there might be. But yes, I won't lose my watch inside it. Let's see. Zara Mart says, how much you make on YouTube? I make about $250 a month from YouTube. It's not a lot, especially when I was doing videos every day. It's not like, it's just fun to do YouTube videos. It's fun to talk to other developers and stuff like that. I don't have a course to sell. We have those T-shirts at the bottom, right? And like I always joke about this, but it's not a joke. It's true. Like over the whole time we've had those T-shirts on the YouTube page, 2 of them have sold, and 1 of them I bought. So like whoever else bought a T-shirt out there, thank you. So there's that, and and we just recently started doing stuff where I created some affiliate links on our website with some of my favorite books. So you might see that down in the description if it updated properly today. But again, we're still messing around with other stuff like that. But for the most part, the YouTube stuff is not the major revenue earner for Overpass. It's mostly client work, and more client work lately than our own applications, because I need to get off my butt and do those and get those updated. Rodian Sabat. Hey, Rodian, how's it going? Hey, Eric, what's up? Oh, pretty good. What's up with you? What's up? Do you think the other beings in other planets trying to get rich by software development? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's I don't know. Then yeah, probably. Yeah, they probably are. It is a weird thing that we like a lot of what we do. Even when I was doing web development, I kind of thought, wow, my whole body of work could be switched off with this, like somebody switching off a server or whatever, or like a virus could take out everything I've done. Whereas, however, environmentally, it's I don't have a whole lot of landfill stuff based on my body of work. Floxix, thank you for the feedback. I've been waiting for a week for the call. I hate that they don't say what has to be changed. They just copy and paste their alcohol guideline. Yeah, I think it would be what else could you use instead of alcohol? Could you use like what was the name of the application? It was drinking game saying it. Yeah, I mean maybe you could just change it to something else, like the word excess or something. Apple support is difficult to deal with. Yeah, Google support is really difficult to deal with. I mean, technically, a drinking game could also mean that you drink with water. That's true. I think you should probably, rather than say alcohol, say beverage, or it depends on. You might be able to soften the language a little bit. Like I said, I would just keep changing whatever needs to change and upload it. I just do, whatever. 250 USD a month is a good side income. Yeah, it is. It's like, but I think a lot of I sent this to Bart. I sent this comment. I got a comment a few weeks ago on the live stream, and it went to spam. And I was gonna obviously it wasn't spam. I was gonna prove it, but it was so hateful. It was all talk about how I can't believe this guy. He talks about how much money he makes with apps, right? And I tried to do it, and it didn't work. And and it's just a scam. I can't believe this, whatever. And I'm like, I'm not selling anything to anybody. So it's so that's why I don't do I don't do courses. I don't do any of that kind of stuff. It's just we're able to share information. We're able to get better at what we do, right? If there's something I can say here that helps you guys out, great. A lot of times you guys are sharing stuff with me that helps me out, and it's fun. But yeah, it is. I suppose it is. We are in a simulation anyway. We are the software. Let's not get. Yeah, okay. All right, let's go that way. 250. Yeah, good side income. Yeah, I suppose so. What about not a drinking game? Not drinking game. If you win, don't drink. If you lose, drink. That's changing the whole game, right? But that's, I totally get it. So okay, so that is the not a drinking game. I like it. Really, I don't know if that would work though, because you're actually using drinking game in the title. But yes, it is dinner time. It is dinner time. Although I'm not doing pizza. I have got last night. I made I cooked for myself, so now I'm living in my cool swank bachelor pad. I cook my own dinners, right? And I make I'm cooking like I'm still making for an entire family. Like, so I've got that. So I made like a huge thing of chicken last night. So I got loads of stuff. So I'll try the XD. Or I'll try that. And simulation is broken. All right, yeah, it's dinner time, everybody. Hey, thanks for joining the live stream. We'll try to do this again next week at 5 o'clock UK time. And like I said, we don't really prepare anything. We just hang out, we just chat, we talk, and have a look at things. And now, because of our conversation today, I know what the open apps on Admob are, and I also know that you can add test devices to the user interface on Admob as opposed to just doing it in the code. So. It's been educational for me. Anyway, thanks everybody for joining. Thanks for giving the thumbs up. Thanks for liking. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for just being you. Stay healthy and safe, and I'll talk to you guys again next week. If I could find a outro.
Trees, your yellow leaves move me. Dancing roofs, your painted red shakes the room. When I get there, I'll let my feet roll. When I get there, I'll break in your arms, I'll lose control. When I get there, I'll know the answer. Let me know when I get closer. Right out of this wicked black and